Hello my lovely learners, this is Krishnaraj and I welcome you to my channel with a very big heart. Today's video is going to be very interesting. In this video, I am going to introduce you with a very interesting tool for unit testing and its name is Verify. Verify is an open source tool developed by Simon Kropp and on GitHub, as you can see that it has more than 1600 stars. And as I said, this tool is very interesting because of the concept it tries to tackle. Well, Verify is a snapshot tool that simplifies the assertion in the unit testing. Now, you may not have heard about the snapshot testing. So to understand that, let's jump directly to the application code and try to understand this tool. Okay, so with integration test, we make assertions of how we expect our website or API to behave in a production-like environment. So let's say we have the following unit test and say you want to test database service layer and say I want to unit test this particular method get book by ID. Okay, so for testing purpose, I have defined this class in the data service layer in which I have defined this static book list and I have defined these two methods get all books and get books by ID. So now in this method I have defined this book ID with this particular GUID and then I am passing this book ID in this data service method and this method is simply returning the single book object from this list by this book ID. And then over here I am simply asserting the result which I want to test. So for example, the result should be of type book, the ID should be this book ID, the book name should be this, the publisher name should be this, so on and so forth. So this is the typical unit test method. As long as this test receives the same input and it returns the same output, our test will happily pass, which means we can change the internal implementation of our code and still use the same test. So if I run this test, it is easily passed. Now on the other hand, what Verify do is it generates the snapshot of the test result during the assertion phase. So it's actually like taking a picture of the application in certain state and then being able to automatically verify that okay, nothing has changed. So now let's say you have this unit test method which will run and generate some result and then Verify will capture a JSON representation of this result and store it into a snapshot file. And then you will see the result verified and you will say okay, this result looks good and let's go with this result. And then every time when you rerun this test, the output of the test is compared to that original snapshot file. And if everything is same, then the test will pass. And if there is anything is different in the result, then your test will fails. Now let's see this practically of what I'm saying. Now to use the Verify in your application, you need to install it through the NuGet package. So let's open the NuGet package and let's type Verify. Now in this application, I have used XUnit for the unit testing. So that's why I have installed this verify.xunit NuGet package. Say in your application you have used NUnit, then you need to install this NUnit NuGet package. So once the installation is done, you are now ready to use this package. So I have already defined this class. So here what I'm going to do is run the exact same method, the getBook by ID, but this time using Verify tool. And we'll verify the result coming back from that is the right one or not. So now I'm going to run this test for the first time. Let's click on this option. So here you can see that the testing is failing. But actually Verify have opened one window for me to compare the result, and that window looks something like this. This is a Beyond Comparer tool. I have already installed the Beyond Comparer in my machine. So Verify tool has opened the result in this tool. So here I need to verify the result, and because this is the first time, we have to take a look at this and need to decide, okay, I am satisfied with this output. And now the next step is I'm going to paste this content in this verified file. And let me save this content. And from now on, when we rerun this test, it's going to generate another this type of received text file, and it will check the output of this received file with this one. So basically you need to commit this verified.txt file into your version control. And now let's rerun this method. And this time you can see that my method is passed. And now let's say if I change anything, say I have just added semicolon over here, and let me save this. And now this time when I rerun this method, the method is failed, and in this window it is showing me the difference, like, okay, in the publisher one I have added this semicolon which is not there in the verified file. So either you can copy this semicolon over here if it is valid for you, or you need to modify your content either in the database or in your code. So let me modify my content over here. And now if I run this method, it is passed now. Now let's consider one scenario. Let's say you don't want this property to be a part of your assertion. So basically if you want to ignore this publisher property, so in that case Verify have one option. So what you need to do is you need to define one setting of the Verify, and in this setting object there is one method ignore member of my book class. So over here I need to define which property I want to ignore. So in my case, say publisher, and then I need to use this setting in this method. So now if I rerun this method, the method is failed, and you can see that it has started ignoring the published property. Now my verified file has already contained this property, so it is asking me to modify this verify file. So now let me remove this property. Let's save this method. And now if I run this method, the method is passed. So in real life, it's much faster to write tests for things that can notoriously hard to test. So this is really a very interesting tool, and I want you to fork that tool and explore the different test cases. So that's it from today's video. Hope this video helps in your day-to-day unit testing. Thank you very much. Please take good care of yourself, and I will see you soon.